Hi, how
Hi,
are
how are
you?
you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us.
Awesome.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear
We're
me?
gonna give it we're gonna give it about 2 minutes, then we're gonna get started.
Awesome. Okay.
How's Cali,
How's
California?
Oh, I thought you said tally. I'm like, what's tally? It's good. It's hot. It's still hot here.
Like what? Like how many degrees?
Well, we've had like over 100 in the past week, but now we're like 90s. Today it's not that bad. It's like 80
Ooh.
something, but it's been 90s. It'll go back
Ooh.
up to the 90s this weekend, so. But
Wow.
it is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we
What
have beaches and stuff, so.
would you say we at? 70?
Yeah, like 70, 80s.
And that's
Mm,
good for us.
Wait, where are you guys at?
DC.
DC.
Oh, that's cool. Awesome.
It's hot and you are wearing a sweater.
Yeah, I'm wearing a sweatshirt because it's been so much hotter than it is today. So I told my mom, I said, I'm a hoodie person, so I'm like, I have to wear a sweatshirt when it's at least lower than 85 because or else I never get to wear a sweatshirt. So
Me too. I love a sweatshirt.
yeah, I'm a hoodie person.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get started. Isaiah is here. He's gonna introduce us, introduce our audience to you a little bit. We'll save this live in case people can't catch us right away, and then they'll be able to go back and replay it if they
Sounds
can't
good.
catch it right away.
On our YouTube channel
Oh, now it's on our YouTube. It's gonna be on
at
YouTube.
Positive Role Models.
Okay,
Nice.
let's go.
All right, so I'm Isaiah Exum. This is my mom, Letitia Isby, and we're the founders of Positive Role Models. So first, we'll just talk about a little bit that we found about you when we did our research, and then we'll go into what we do and who we are. So upon our research, we found out that at 16, you wrote your first book and you became an international award-winning author. Um, you then went on to create multiple mental health advocacy projects for the youth, such as Brain XP, the Bipolaroid Booth, and the Mental Misfits. You're also a musical recording artist and performer, and yes, a very motivational speaker for the mental health community.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
You want to tell her about us?
So we're Positive Role Models, a social enterprise under our parent company, LTI Concepts. And our mission is to serve, inspire, and lead. And with that, we hope to build the future capacity of leaders, not only within the district, but across the nation eventually. And yes, we just want to promote positivity and encourage people to do the right thing.
Awesome. I love that.
Okay. So we just got a couple of questions for you. We try to, stick to about 30 minutes because we want to be so considerate of your time. Again, thank you. So our first question is, what is your inspiration for being an advocate for teen wellness?
Well, okay, so I think my inspiration is more like when I couldn't find the materials that I was looking for, like different books or articles or like blogs written by actual teenagers. I
Mm,
couldn't find those when I was struggling, and I'm like, why is that not easily accessible? Like, why can't I find them? So that's kind of what inspired me to write my book because I figured no one should have to be a young person and always look up to the adults. We should inspire each other. So, that's kind of why I wrote the book, and it's just my perspective and my journey. And with that, it can relate to other teenagers, so we're not always relying on the adults. We can help each other. So that's kind of what inspired me, just kind of that whole process.
okay.
So a question I wanted to ask was, how did you decide on a book versus other forms of media, like a documentary or?
So I decided on the book because I wanted my whole journey to be like documented, and I was already doing that. And so I met this lady, her name's Benny Malone, and I met her at a NAMI California conference, like that big organization for mental illness. And I met her there, and she is an author and she has lived experience with mental health challenges and all that. So she ended up becoming the book editor like of my book.
Mm,
So she was the one that really encouraged me to keep writing because I already had a lot of stuff written down. So she encouraged me to keep writing. She said she'd edit the book, and then it became a book, and I'm like, okay. um,
oh,
really, really love music, and so that's where I'm kind of going toward now. I'm not planning to write another book anytime soon, so I want to work on the music side because teenagers love music. I love music, so that's where I'm kind of, yeah.
So what type of mental health, if you feel comfortable, what type of mental health challenges do you think you share that you work through and that you feel maybe other teenagers can relate to?
Yeah, I've kind of experienced a little bit of everything. When I was in sixth grade, I struggled really badly with anxiety, and then when I hit seventh grade, I entered this really deep depression. So I had the anxiety and the depression, and then there was a period of time in my life where I was experiencing psychotic symptoms, so some psychosis. So anxiety, depression, psychosis, and then I was officially diagnosed with bipolar disorder when I was 13, I believe. So I have a little bit of everything in there, but I can say right now I haven't experienced psychotic symptoms in like over 3 years, I think. Obviously, depression and anxiety come and go at times, but I've learned to manage them pretty well, so I don't have the same issues that I did when I was like 12 and 13.
How did you know? What were some of like your behaviors or something that you was like, oh my goodness, something don't feel right or something's not right?
Yeah, when I was in sixth grade, when the anxiety first hit me, I was on a sleepover one time, and I've been on so many sleepovers before, but this particular one, I was at my best friend's house, and when it was time to go to sleep, I got this like pit in my stomach, and I like started to panic. I didn't know why, and it was because I didn't have the control of the situation. So I was like getting anxiety because I couldn't control what was happening. So if we were gonna wake up at 5 a.m., I couldn't control that. If we were gonna wake up at 12 p.m., I couldn't control that. I didn't know what was going to happen the next day. So that's when I realized, okay, I'm always wanting to be in control of situations, and sometimes you can't be. So that's how I kind of knew about anxiety. The depression was obvious because I was crying all the time at school, on the playground, in class. Like I was just a big loner at the time. So that was pretty obvious. And then the psychosis was really obvious because I was like seeing and hearing things that weren't there, you know? So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this is my last question, just as a parent. What things do you think your parents saw or that a parent could do or could have done to kind of like help or maybe pay attention more? Or what advice would you have for parents who, who may not notice those things or
yeah. Well, my parents, they didn't know anything really about mental health. It kind of took us all by surprise. So my parents found out through my teacher because my issues were school-related issues. I was having a pretty good home life. It was just at school I was really struggling. So my teacher was the first person to notice, and he called my mom and said something is like really wrong. She's like a totally different person because I was like this really happy, outgoing person, and then it's just like shut off. So he called my mom, and that's when I first started getting help because she could take the next steps, such as counseling and therapy and stuff like that. And because of that, I was eventually put on prescribed meds, so that helps a little bit too. So they didn't really notice it at first. It was my teacher. But once they kind of got it, they're like, oh, that does make sense now. That's why she was upset this day or whatever. So yeah.
Okay. At least they were, as this my next question, but they were really open to what your teacher had to say. So another adult did recognize some of it.
Yeah, and my teacher noticed it, but my parents are really supportive, and they were really open to helping me. They weren't closed-minded, like, oh, you're fine, whatever. They were very willing to help me, which was really, really cool, because I know a lot of people I've met don't have the family support, especially because I present for a lot of kids and teens, and it's so hard for them because they don't have the same type of family support that I did, and I feel so horrible for them because it's so hard living in a home or even just like being around family that doesn't support you in the way you need to. So that's why I started Brain XP in the community, because we're here for each other, even if like our families aren't.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very powerful. So the next question that I wanted to ask was, what is your favorite way to disconnect? So like when there's a lot going on, how do you relieve yourself from that stress?
I listen to music. I play guitar and I songwrite too, so that's like my go-to move. When I was in school, I couldn't do that obviously. Like I couldn't just be like, oh, I'm gonna go play guitar right now. But once I got out of school, music became like my number one source of just coping and getting things out, because for one, like if I'm struggling with something, I can just make a song about it and it's totally out there and open. So that's definitely my biggest coping skill. But when I was in school, I think I used a lot of fidget toys.
Mm.
I mean, obviously the teacher approved of it and stuff, but I'd like just have like a little squish ball under my desk or whatever, or I'd have a spin ring. I have a spin ring here. And so I would just like toy with my hands because I couldn't sit still.
Mhm.
But that's kind of one of the easiest things you can do that was helpful for me is just like have a fidget spinner or something that you can fidget with. It's kind of weird, but it worked for me. So
Mhm.
I would definitely recommend that too to people.
I remember those came out a while ago. A lot, like they were very popular
Yeah,
at one time.
fidget spinners.
Yeah. What did you say, bro?
Yeah, I had like 3 of them.
Okay. Oh, so how do you plan to continue to advocate for teen mental wellness in the future? I know one area you talked about is through your music. So we want to talk about your music too.
Yeah, so with the Brain XP community and our whole project, we just started a youth team, and I'm actually sending out the information for our youth team members who are interested. I'm sending that information out tomorrow. So I'm very excited for that because that is the next step with Brain XP is taking in our teenagers who want to be creative and involve themselves with mental health awareness. So I'm going to be meeting with them via Zoom, and we're going to be planning the campaigns and the projects that Brain XP does. So we're spreading mental health awareness, but we're all doing it together, and we are literally the young people leading it because they're all teenagers. So that is the next step. Obviously, music is a huge step for me too. I think the music is a little bit more of a my thing rather than a Brain XP thing, because I write my own music and all that, but we are starting to feature other community members on our YouTube channel and on our Instagram and stuff to share their music too. So we've got everybody involved in it, so it's just a matter of getting people to participate, and be more interactive in our community. But yeah, that's definitely the next step.
And how would a teenager find or join your community?
Yeah, so the 2 best ways is to follow on Instagram, so at Brain XP Project on Instagram, or to sign up for our newsletter on brainxp.org. That's our website, and it's a completely free newsletter sign up, and you'll get the free emails with the updates and the events that are happening. We had some events scheduled that were in person, but because of COVID, we have to do them virtually right now. But we do have events, and we have just fun gatherings and things like that. So once this whole thing is over and we're back to normal, we're definitely meeting in person. But yeah, I think that's the 2 best ways to get involved is just to sign up for the newsletter and to follow on Instagram at Brain XP Project.
Okay, we got a question.
Someone said, could you play a song for us? I love to hear your music.
I don't know how to do that though. I'm on my phone right now.
I don't know. How you do that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry.
Person DM me. I can send you my music like right after this. I'll send you a link. I really want you to hear it. So
Yeah.
is it? I don't know how to say the name, but for that person, please DM me, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
DM her, and she'll be able to get the link over to you. Where else can we find your music? Because we would like to put it on our page as well.
Oh yeah, you can find it on almost all the platforms. So I would recommend Spotify because I know a lot of people use Spotify, but it's on Apple Music and YouTube and all that type of stuff. So, and all you have to do is search Christine XP. You won't find it under my real name. It's going to be Christine XP.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes.
The best
Oh,
song.
that's so sweet.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay, what kind of songs do you have when you talk about genre or your mission in your music? What kind of music do you produce or use? Sing?
Yeah, so I always start with my guitar, and so it's always acoustic that way first. But then once I go work with the music producer, we've got different styles. So I think the first song that I did was Memory Jeans, and that one is pretty pop driven. It's pretty pop. The most recent one I did was Broken Eyes, and that's more like EDM style. And I have a new song that I'm working on right now with the producer, and it's a EDM style as well. Because I kind of like to take dark topics and make them brighter in the maybe not in the lyrics, but in the beat and things like that. So you take a heavy thing and make it light. Oh yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah, they'll check it out on Spotify. Okay. So yeah, but right now I'm working on EDM music because I just love that music, and I think it's really fun to take dark things and make them light like that. So I'm very excited for that one. That one is going to be dedicated to my grandpa. He's not doing well, but he has a really good.
Sorry to hear that.
No, it's okay. He's actually they've estimated, the doctors, he's got about 2 more weeks or less to be alive. So I wanted to get this song out, even if he can't hear it, to have it and remembering him, you know. So, and I don't want it to be so dark when I do it. I think I want him to be remembered in a positive way. So that's why I'm going with the EDM style. So, but yeah, I kind of do all different styles.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, did you have? I have one more question.
Okay.
Before we go, as a parent. So we as parents sometimes know that teens struggle with just teenage things that bring on anxiety. Sometimes, you know, maybe some seasonal depression, adjustment disorder, things of that nature. What would be the best strategy for a parent to use to help teenagers kind of cope with life day to day, outside of helping them access therapy or things like that? What things could we say or do or leave you alone, or what things did you find really helpful?
Yeah, I think the main thing that was helpful for me was the fact that they didn't understand, but they were still there for me. So they couldn't quite understand what was happening in my brain, which is very, like, that's reasonable, you know. They're not in my brain. They can't understand everything, but they say, I am here for you. We will support you. We will get you the help that you need, because they know that they can't provide me with the same help that a professional can. So, oh, thank you for the prayers for my grandpa. That's so sweet. But also, I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
It'd be like that.
Yeah, it'd be like that. So parents, they said I'm there for you. Of course,
Yeah,
they're not in your head.
I'm sorry. That happened.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so them just being there for me is something that you can't replace, like having that support there. So that's the best number one thing I would say, is just be there. And if you can get the extra help, like you were saying, the therapy or professional, that's so important. But just knowing that someone cares about you means so much. Even if you don't realize it yet, just knowing that they care about you, even if they don't feel it or you don't understand it, like just saying, I am here for you, I support you. That's just, those words go such a long way. So at least it did for me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd also feel like sometimes space is needed, you know.
Yes.
Just knowing when to not overcrowd us with support, but also allowing us to have our space when we need it is very helpful.
Yeah, I totally agree, like 100%, because sometimes it just does feel like a lot of pressure when everyone wants you to get better, but you can't just like make it happen all of a sudden. It takes a process, you know. So definitely space, and like kind of just having that reassurance, but not always putting it on them so much. I guess that's how I would put it. Yeah.
Okay, what did someone say? I can't read that.
Someone said that knowing that someone actually cares and is willing to listen creates an extra comfort.
Oh, I
Yeah.
agree.
100%. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so typically now about this 15-minute mark, we open it up to see if anybody that joined us. We want to thank everybody that has joined us. Again, we save it, so typically people will go back if they didn't catch it right now. But we ask anybody if anybody got any questions for us while we're here, for our guest, for her expertise about becoming an author, producing music, putting out music, resources to get any type of access to therapists, or any questions y'all might have. Do you have any other questions? We're gonna link your music on our page. I want to check it out myself, so I could be more in the loop. He said I'm not cool anymore.
What? I did not say that.
No, definitely check it out. Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Okay, so you gonna wrap it up with
I had a question.
Oh, you had a question?
Who are some of your favorite artists?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm really into Halsey. Oh, we have another question here too, but I'm really into Halsey because I love her music, and I've been to one of her concerts before, and even though she's the only person on the stage, like there's no dancers and stuff, somehow she still captivates people. Like it was really, really cool how she did that. Mm-hmm. I like a lot of different artists. She's like my number one, but like Demi Lovato has a great outlook on mental health too. I mean, there's just so many people, but definitely those two are my top ones.
Okay.
What did this person say?
I can't read that.
Someone said, what advice would you give to teens that are reluctant to try therapy?
Oh, that's a good question.
Hmm.
I was reluctant to try therapy myself. When I was in 6th grade with anxiety, I was like, I am not an okay kid if I'm going to therapy. I'm like, that's not what I want to do. But my whole perspective changed once I just went to one therapy session, because it's really weird at first because you start to talk about things that you would never talk about. Like, I would never talk about, like, thoughts and feelings and actions and all that stuff. But once you start to know the therapist and you just get a good bond there, it's actually a lot of fun. Like, you get to talk about yourself all the time. So
Right.
it's just a great way to do it, you know? So you don't have to worry about other people being like, stop, like, being selfish or whatever. It's like, no, I get to talk about myself. I get to talk about my problems. So I would just say that don't go into it with a mindset that you're not an okay kid. It's more just that you need some extra help, and that's totally fine.
That's cool.
Just want to say thank you so much for everyone on here wanting to gain more knowledge of mental health. We are the future, and we need to be the positive in the world. Together, we can help each other. Yes.
Yes.
Hey,
Well,
hey,
that-
I agree.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So you're gonna talk about. So right after this, we have created a space where anybody can come on. I am a licensed therapist. That's the. Oh, sorry. We have another question.
Someone said, excuse me, what are some signs parents can look for in their children that something may be going on?
Oh, that's a good question, because I've talked about this with my parents too. And I think some of the obvious signs are like if they're not talking, if they're crying, if they're just not themselves. But that's like the biggest one, is if they're not themselves. Like, you know your kid, like you would know how they act. So if something seems off, something is probably off. So it doesn't have to take like a whole episode or anything, like a big spurt of crying or anything. If you could just tell they're not acting the same, something's probably off. That's probably the best thing my mom's ever told me. So yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I would agree. So right after this, we hold a space on Wednesdays. I am a licensed therapist, licensed clinical social worker here in DC, and we hold a space right after this at 7:45. 7:45 to 8:15, where teens are able to come on and just kind of get things off their chest. It's called Get It Off Your Chest Wednesdays. So you can go live with us. We'll just be talking just to get people kind of comfortable with talking about their day and sharing things that they coping strategies, kind of like what we just did. But anybody's free to join. Also, you're going to wrap it up about positive role models. We thank you so much for your time. I know we're in 2 different time zones, so it's what time in California now?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock?
Oh my
Yes.
God, that's so sweet.
It's so sweet.
That's so sweet.
And it's what time? It's 7 o'clock here. 7:30, almost 7:30. So Isaiah's gonna wrap it up. Y'all can find us. He'll tell you, and then you can join us right back here. We're gonna take like a 15-minute break, and then we'll be right back at like 7:45.
Yes. So you can find us obviously on Instagram at Positive Role Models, but also we have a YouTube channel where you can rewatch some of our most important lives, some of our
Like this one.
like this one. Of course, this one was definitely on YouTube. But yes, some of our more informative lives where we feel they have done a good job of helping others and just getting different messages out there. Our YouTube is also Positive Space Role Space Models. So
I didn't know that.
yes, and our Twitter is Positive RL Models. We need more followers on Twitter. So if you have a Twitter,
And we have
find us
some
there.
couple of these sweatshirts left. When you buy a sweatshirt, 10% of all proceeds go back into the community. This weekend we're doing a food drive for youth experiencing homelessness. So when you buy any type of merch, we take that money and invest it back into some community service ideas. So that's it.
That is all.
So somebody said you were great. Thank you so much. Learned a lot. She admires your courage. Thank you so much, Christine.
You guys are
Thank you.
awesome.
And we'll hopefully link with you soon. I'll be checking out Brain XP a little bit more.
Absolutely. I'd love to work with you guys more. Definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Goodbye.